But the more he thought about it, the more he suspected this wasn't an accident. There was only so long you could continue in his field without either selling out or investigating someone who didn't want you prying, and who had the resources to make sure you got held up at every turn. Likely someone, probably an overworked transportation clerk, had been paid off to make sure Teravec wound up in whatever remote ass crack of the universe this was. It wouldn't be somewhere too dangerous, only somewhere it would take a few months to return from. He'd been on the force long enough to know how this worked. He would be missing for long enough that they'd assign another officer to the case, someone less tenacious than Teravec, someone who would be willing to stop at the easy charges instead of digging to find the shadier underground doings. When Teravec got back, they would inform him that this was a mistake, and all the evidence of the bribe would be long gone. He mentally added this to the ledger against the organization he was investigating, then decided to lie down and grab a nap. Translocation stripped the power out of a person, an unfortunate side effect usually countered by having recharging stations at one's destination. Not only would it take him multiple weeks to build up a sufficient level of magic to get himself out of here, but he would also be tired the whole time. He woke to the sound of small animals and his chattering teeth. Fuck, it was cold. Daloon 4 was worse in the daytime, but at least the temperature didn't swing wildly down at night. Teravec made his way out of the cave, praying that whatever planet he was on, it didn't somehow have an occluded view of the sky. He was pleased, therefore, to see an incredibly rich tapestry of stars spread out above him. A long splash of light lay along the center, marking him as being at the outer edge of a galaxy, but that still didn't narrow things down much. He shoved his hands in his pockets and began walking. He needed a good vantage point, preferably some high ground. He was trying to keep a grip on his temper, but hunger and a crick in his neck weren't making that easy. He'd been so damned close to cracking that case, and this was how it ended. No. He swore to himself that nothing in this universe was going to stop him from picking it back up when he got back. He was already composing memos in his head to his commanding officers. He'd accrued a certain amount of capital over the years to spend on something worthwhile. He was pissed enough now to spend it all if he needed to. The rock wall had no easy ways up it, so he headed out into the flatlands to get as good a view of the sky as he could, running his hand through his hair to move it out of his eyes. It took effort not to look up early, but he knew it was worse than useless to judge his position based on a partial view. He allowed himself to look up when he finally reached a place he judged good enough. There, the milky bar of light in the middle of the sky. Spreading away from it, a scatter of stars and galaxies. His eyes scanned the sky professionally, picking out the pinpricks of light with distinctive hues, and the faint distortions of nebulae. Some of them seemed familiar, but... The answer came to him almost at once, so quickly that he brushed it aside with a shake of his head. No, it wouldn't be that. If he were looking at that nebula from this angle, that would place him... No. He kept scanning, returning each time to the two nebulae. One lay behind the leftmost in a rough line of 3 stars. The other lay beneath it. No. No, Teravec said quietly. No. He turned, scanning the sky. One more check. One more place marker to show him the angle and... No! His scream echoed off the canyon wall behind him, but continued unimpeded into the emptiness in the other direction. Emptiness, he now knew, that stretched not only across whatever desert this was, but for light years upon light years around this planet. The fuckers had stranded his ass on Earth. If there was ever a time...